So we got a bit uncomfortable that there's a boy in a female bathroom.
Yeah.
So we got a petition. Some people didn't want to write their names down because they didn't want to get in trouble, but some did. We got over 40 names and we gave it to the principal and they did nothing about it.
That's insane. So
now girls are now withholding from the toilet at all?
Some of them aren't drinking because they don't want to share a bathroom with a boy.
But the problem is he's not getting the truth, right? His mum's really pushing her child to become a girl, even though he is a boy, and she's pushing for him to be able to be in girls' sports. There's a reason why we have segregated sport.
Yes.
You can't have boys in girls' sport.
We're precedenting all men can now go into women's spaces. That's the big picture that I'm seeing.
They're doing these gender case studies where they're told, this kid in your class was a boy but is now a girl. So they're teaching kids as young as 5 to lie. This ideology is just so pervasive.
I know Ava's spoken up to the principal as well, face to face, and hasn't got anywhere. So I just got a phone call home that her behaviour was inappropriate.
For speaking up?
Yeah.
So a week ago on the Dr. Joe Show, we broke the story of an Adelaide Catholic school that is allowing biological boys to use the girls' bathrooms and to play in girls' sports. And when the little girls say that they're upset about this or they're feeling uncomfortable, they're told that the problem is with them and that they need to use the disabled bathroom even though they're not disabled. This is not just happening at Catholic schools, it is actually the official policy of the Peter Malinauskas Labor government in South Australia. It is also part of the Respectful Relationships program being taught in Victorian schools to kids as young as 5. This ideological brainwashing and grooming of our children has gone too far, and it really hurts kids on the ground. It's not right, it's not true, and I'm really grateful to Ava and Zoe for being willing to share their story today, and that's today on the Dr. Joe Show. Zoe, do you want to maybe just start off and tell us what's happened?
Yeah, so I guess about 12 months ago, a child has transitioned to a female at our school. The school hasn't let anyone know, kind of went, I guess, all stealth mode on this. And now we're seeing, a biological boy that's using the female toilets at school, where girls are feeling really unsafe and vulnerable in that space now. But we're also seeing girls not getting into, their stepsizes sport, things like that, where a biological boy is now taking that spot. So it's quite detrimental for all these kids, all these girls at school that this is happening to, that they're feeling very isolated. I know Ava's spoken up to the principal as well, face to face, and hasn't got anywhere. So I just got a phone call home that her behaviour was inappropriate.
For speaking up?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What happened?
So me and my friend Ava, we...
No, I thought you are Ava.
No, there's another Ava.
Why don't you just tell her you and your friend?
Okay.
Me and my friend, so we got a bit uncomfortable that there's a boy in a female bathroom.
Yeah.
So we got a petition. Some people didn't want to write their names down because they didn't want to get in trouble, but some did. We got over 40 names and we gave it to the principal and they did nothing about it.
Wow. So you actually got a petition together to say you wanted the girls' bathroom to just be a space for girls. I mean, that shouldn't be a controversial proposition, right? Like, you probably didn't even imagine that that could ever be threatened, like that space. Did you ever think that a boy would be allowed to use a girls' bathroom? No. And so you got a petition together. You took it to the principal. And what did he say?
He said we will have a meeting about this. We had one meeting, but they did nothing about it.
And then you got a call saying that Ava was being inappropriate.
Yeah, from head of Catholic schools, yeah.
From the head of Catholic schools?
Yeah, for the southern area, yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
This is just out of control.
Yeah.
Like, so at a very basic level, and not everybody that watches this channel is Catholic or Christian, but at a very basic level, if you're at a Catholic school, you would expect to see a biblical view of gender, which is based in biology and science, that, males and females are biologically different. God created them male and female. You would expect to see that in a Catholic school. Is that one of the reasons you sent her to a Catholic school?
Yeah, well, we are Catholic. And, Ava and her sisters, believe in the image of God that they were created, and they were born female, they were born male, and that's it. That's simple, clean cut.
Yeah, and it's not to judge this kid that's struggling with his gender, like this is gender dysphoria, it's a mental illness. It's not to at all like criticise or bully him, but it is just wrong when an approach to include him just tramples over the rights of girls, right? So, Ava, the school told you had to use the disabled bathrooms if you felt uncomfortable?
Yeah, if we felt uncomfortable.
Is that what the girls are doing now?
They've been banned now, haven't they?
Yep, we can't go in there. We have to use normal toilets.
Oh, so they've taken that away now. That's insane. So
now girls are now withholding from the toilet at all.
Yeah.
Or we have to go to the younger toilets.
Yeah.
The younger students.
Yeah, because I did read in the UK of this school that had done a similar thing. They'd introduced like unisex bathrooms for everybody, and the girls were literally not drinking water and withholding their pee because they didn't want to go to the bathroom with the boys. And actually, boys were filming some of the girls with their phones, and it was a safety issue for that school.
I did use a unisex toilet at a big school in Adelaide, and while it was nice as an adult, and I, probably didn't really care so much, when you actually think about the way it was designed, the common area where you're washing and, refreshing yourself is shared by all, and then you go into individual cubicles. So where do females exchange their pads, tampons? Where do they, readjust their themselves in front of the mirror? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're shared by both male and female. I just think, and we all know like what teenage boys were like when we were at school.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, the thing about this, right, is they're saying to these primary school kids, okay, boys can compete in your sport, boys can be in your spaces like the bathroom, but how does this work once the girls have, hit puberty and they're menstruating and they're in high school? And how does it work when boys hit puberty? And so they already have an advantage biologically in sport, even pre-puberty. Yeah. But after puberty, it's just so much more pronounced. This lie that is existing at this primary school that you're at, Ava, it can't continue into high school because, or like if it does, you're just erasing women altogether, and it's so unsafe, and you're just erasing their sport. So I just, where does it end? Like, it's so illogical what they're doing. Ava, so you've been told you can't use the disabled bathrooms now. How is this affecting girls at the school?
Some of them aren't drinking because they don't want to share a bathroom with a boy.
Oh, that's horrible.
I think there was too much of a bigger lineup for the one disabled toilet.
Is that why they shut it down? I mean, I thought that was ridiculous because it was based on a lie anyway. Like, you're not disabled, you shouldn't have to use a disabled bathroom, you should be able to use the girls' bathroom. I feel really sorry for him. Like, I watched an interview. Did you see that interview the Advertiser did? Yeah. And it is heartbreaking just to think about this little kid and what he's going through. But the problem is he's not getting the truth, right? So, his mum, in that same interview, an article, she's really pushing her child to become a girl, even though he is a boy. And she's pushing for him to be able to be in girls' sports and girls' bathrooms. And she says he wouldn't be here if we didn't allow him to become a girl, which is basically like just a threat of suicide that's being pushed in the face of these education institutions. It'd be like me walking into the school and saying, unless my daughter makes the athletics team, she's going to kill herself.
Exactly.
Or unless you give my child the trophy at the end of your academic assembly, they're going to kill themselves. Like, you can't do that. It's not fair.
Yeah, and it is unfair, and it's unfair that, when they rang us from Catholic schools telling me that Ava needs to adapt to situations that she's not going to feel comfortable with, and she needs to learn to do that. It's the same, right? If you're not, do you know what I mean?
Like, the letter that you got from the principal reminding you about the charter and not going to the media, like there was no acknowledgement of what your mum was saying or of the truth of what you were saying, of the problem that this was creating. Yeah. It was just you are being uninclusive, you are, you're the problem, Ava's the problem, you're the problem. And then Catholic education came on top and gave a similar response. And again, it must be, what toll has this taken on you guys as a family? What's it been like?
It's actually been upsetting, to be honest. Your dad's not happy about it either, is he? It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. And I think too, with what both my girls went through, being a witness to a pedophile, and then, Ava, for quite a few years, you didn't like having male coaches at sport or anything, did you? Like, you found it tricky. And I think it's really, I don't know, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? And then now you're telling a kid that you have to share those spaces with a male.
Yeah.
Mm.
We were talking about it earlier, like what happens when...
What if I go to high school and one of the 18-year-olds, year 12s turned to like a girl that is a boy, and I'm 13, to share it with an 18-year-old.
It's so wrong.
Mm.
That's just not safe.
Yeah.
Ava, I don't even understand how you know this as a 12-year-old and the Premier doesn't know this, right? Like, this is just so... And your principal doesn't know this, and the Catholic Education Office doesn't know this. Like...
I feel like, to me, I've set some boundaries for my kids growing up and teaching them the difference between right and wrong and what's safe and what's appropriate and what's not. And then now I feel like I've pushing that all to the side and going, it's okay. There's no, stranger danger anymore. Like, if you see a man in your bathroom, it just is what it is. You need to be accepting. But if that was, a couple of years ago, I would be saying to my children, scream or run or, do you know what I mean?
I know. Like,
how do we differentiate now? How do we teach our kids what is safe?
And it's not to say that this little boy is a threat to these girls' safety, but if you say that this little boy can be in the girls' bathroom, you're saying that boys and men can be in girls' and women's bathrooms. That is unsafe.
We're saying that we're precedenting all men can now go into women's spaces. And I just think that's the big picture that I'm seeing. And it's not personally on this one little child at school. It's this whole big picture of where we stand and where our women's rights are and what is safe and where are our boundaries.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's so insane that these so-called feminists have just gone silent on this issue of speaking up for women and girls. And in fact, they're actually speaking up for the rights of men to be in women's spaces.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
That's where the left is. It is... can I ask you, does it feel powerless? Do you feel powerless in this situation? Like, how do you feel, Ava?
Well, powerless, uncomfortable, saying, when I'm older, I work in a suicidal thing and all these girls come in, but there's a male in there that into a girl. How would that feel to, the woman?
Yeah.
So like a domestic violence shelter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what you mean is, if you're in a women's shelter or you've escaped DV, and then now that there's men identifying as women, they can use those spaces as well. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Well, and that's happened, right? This is not just like a hypothetical. This is happening, that you've got male sex offenders in women's prisons, and in women's shelters, and it's so crazy. Just recently, the CEO of SA Health was at a parliamentary inquiry talking about stillborn babies, which is a tragedy that no woman should have to go through. But she did an acknowledgement to the fact that, she's not just speaking about women, but she's speaking about men who go through the tragedy of a stillbirth. And men don't go through a tragedy of a stillbirth in the same way that a woman does, because they can't get pregnant.
And we spoke about this, didn't we? We had a big chat at home, and we spoke about, God gave us this gift that we can bear children, and we've got a uterus, and we can breastfeed our children, and all these beautiful things that we can do. And then you've got men that now want to be a woman and say that they're a woman. And I don't understand how you can say that you're a woman when you don't have the parts of a woman and have, you know what I mean?
Well, what makes us a gender is our biology. It isn't actually about how we feel. It is it's very deeply rooted in the science.
Anyone can have an amazing costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. So I saw the cover of the Advertiser, trans girl what was it, Trans Girl Wins Race, or something like that.
Yeah.
So Ava, that was about your school, wasn't it? Can you tell us what happened?
Not sure.
Not sure about that one.
Not sure about the cross country race. So there was what I read in the article was there was a cross country race at your school, and the little boy who now identifies as a girl won that race. And what I felt...
They won it for our school, I think, but not for the state.
Yeah, but what I felt very upset about with that was there was girls that didn't get the gold medal. They didn't get to represent the school in states because that boy took the place of the girl.
Exactly, yeah.
And that would be really heartbreaking. As a mother of girls, I know my kids are really competitive in sport. They would be so upset.
Yeah.
Did something happen just yesterday at Subsasa athletics tryouts?
Well, he won the race of the 1.5 for like the tryouts. All the girls, year 5s and 6s, were like devastated that a boy got it. Then they could have got it.
Yeah.
And the sport teacher only picked 2 people to go, a girl and a boy. It's now 2 boys. And for like the 1.5, they didn't do the hurdles because they thought they would get judged. They had a separate race.
So kids aren't doing it now?
Yeah.
So girls are not competing in sport because of the impact of this. I mean, it's so horrific. So like the school, if I understand you correctly, Ava, your school sends a boy and a girl for each category to Sapsaza for the state athletics. And in the tryouts, a biological boy won the girls' race. So now the school is sending for the 1,500 metres 2 boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, we see like my other daughter, she was playing a sport, which is, I would have thought softball is an all-girls sport, right?
Yeah.
And she did have a male that joined her team. He's a boy, identifies as a boy. But yeah, she was 14 at the time, 13, 14, my daughter, and she pulled out halfway through the season. She said, Mum, I don't want to play anymore with a boy. It's not because she doesn't like boys, but she was actually scared of, the power that he has behind him. And she said, Mum, I just want to go to a sport with girls and not be, I feel like I'm being judged by a boy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's really important that we recognise that it's not even just, transgender children and that sort of thing. It's when we're mixing the different sexes, like do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I do, because I used to play competitive hockey, and when I was at Oxford, I thought I'll join the hockey team, but they were mixed teams.
Yeah.
I played 1 game because the boys were just so powerful. The way they would hit that ball, I was just scared for my life.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why we have segregated sport.
Yes.
You can't have boys in girls' sport. I think like Serena Williams, who's the very best female player of all time, potentially the GOAT, right, in tennis. She played like, I think the 200th man on the men's tour and lost 6-love. Like, there is a definite biological advantage that men have in sport.
Yeah.
And, even at the cross-country level, I was looking it up, in all of the pre-puberty races, the boys are running faster than the girls. The girls wouldn't even get a medal in the boys' race, but after puberty, the boys actually run like 1K more because of the way that they are biologically made, because of their constitution. So this is just, it's really horrific to think that what they're doing is just, it's got a real world impact on girls like Ava and her friends who aren't now able to compete at a state level
all because of being inclusive.
Yeah, all because of being inclusive. It's excluding girls, right? Yeah. And I think the other thing about it is, so Kate Jenkins, I think she was the sports commissioner, she came out and she said, well, at a community sport level, it's fine to be inclusive and have biological boys and girls sport, but then once it gets to the elite level, we should have only, sex segregated sport. But what you can see happen is what has happened to Ava, like the girls didn't even want to compete in the hurdles because they felt they just didn't even have a fair playing field. So girls aren't going to want to play in community level sport if there's boys playing in their level,
Exactly.
right?
My daughter pulled out of community sport.
Yeah, exactly. So it has an impact. And it's just, why is it okay at an elite level to separate them based on gender and not okay at a community level. Like, it makes no sense. If it's not okay at an elite level to have girls and boys in the one category, it shouldn't be okay at a community level. Like, why are we inflicting that on little girls? Sorry that I keep calling you a little girl, but in my mind you are, and it's the job of adults to protect you and keep you safe.
And I think sometimes too, we look at, like, when you've got a range of children playing sport, you've got a range of abilities, right, and capabilities in that team. And if you're playing against a child that is possibly at an elite level, playing at a community level sport, against someone that's playing sport for the first time, where's the risks? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, you've got, it's such a huge difference. Yeah. But
so do you feel scared doing this interview and speaking up about it?
No.
That's good. And why do you think that is, Ava?
Well, we got to stand up for my own rights, because, like, I'm not the only girl that feels uncomfortable. There's more out there.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're speaking up for your friends?
Yep.
Do some of your friends feel scared?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about for you, Zoe? Do you feel scared speaking up about this?
I don't. I don't feel scared. I don't think that there's no reason to feel scared. I think we're standing up for what is right, what we believe in. It's facts. I just wish more people would stand up as well. People were scared to be called names, I suppose, but we're not doing anything wrong, so there's no reason to feel scared. Good,
because the reality of it is you guys are on the side of truth. Like, Ava, what you're fighting for is the truth. You know, that girls are different to boys and that they should be in different sporting teams and different spaces. You're not angry at boys, you're not trying to judge boys, you're just saying we're different, right? And that's all that you're fighting for, and it's the truth. And we shouldn't ever be scared of fighting for the truth, but I can understand why people feel scared. I'm going to tell you something that's happened since I launched the campaign to email the Archbishop, because I sort of figured that, okay, this is happening in a Catholic school in Adelaide. The principal's given you a terrible response. He should probably be sacked. He really should be. Like, he's not a Catholic. And then Catholic Education Office wrote an appalling letter to you and to Senator Leah Blythe. So I thought, well, they clearly need to go as well, because they're just been infiltrated by, I would say it's like a demonic cult. Like, this is a aggressively anti-Catholic leftist agenda.
There's actually no care for any other child.
Yeah. So the irony of them saying that they're going to be so inclusive to this one child, this biological boy who identifies as a girl, is at the exclusion of the care and compassion for every other girl in that school and in the system. So I told people after posting the video that they should email the Archbishop to let him know what was going on, and then he could open up an investigation, inquiry, and really, blow this open. But people have shown me the emails they're getting in response, which is from the Archbishop's office saying, I am now forwarding your concern about Catholic education to Catholic education. So he's just forwarding the emails on. So he's getting inundated with community members saying, this is terrible, and he's forwarding it on to the person they're complaining about.
Because no one is taking responsibility. No one.
Yeah. Think about it in a different way, right? You've got a domestic violence situation or a sexual abuse situation, and you make a complaint about the perpetrator. The victim makes a complaint. Other people make a complaint. And the system, the investigation system, refers the complaint to the perpetrator, to the person who is violent or sexually abusive, gets to investigate. Like, does that sound fair?
No.
It is so wrong. So my new call to action is that people have to write to the Pope. So that sounds extreme, doesn't it? Write to the Pope. But, I've got to believe that Pope Leo, because I'm Catholic too, guys, and I know this isn't Catholic. And there's many parents over many, many years who are aware that the Catholic education system in South Australia has been infiltrated by leftists pursuing an agenda. Apparently, if you go into the Catholic Education Office, you're greeted by someone with purple hair, which probably tells you everything you need to know. And, you know, the Catholic schools, like, they teach all sorts of things, like around abortion as well, and other issues. Like, they're not Catholic. There's some really good Catholic teachers at these schools.
I know with Midiog, you'd been taught that, you know, two mums or two dads can create a baby, which
is not true.
No,
yeah,
it's not. You can have two mums or two dads that lovingly, you know, share the love for one child and can raise a beautiful child in a beautiful home and something, you know. But reality is that two mums cannot make one child.
They can't. No, they really can't. And the only way this ever happens is with the destruction of human embryos. So, you know, not only were they taught something that was untrue, but they were also taught something that was that goes against Catholic teaching as well. You know, it's not just this. It's all the way through the system. So the call to action is for people to write to the Pope's representative in Australia. I'm going to put the details of the Archbishop down in the caption, and I'd really encourage people to write to him. We have to actually speak up and do something about this. It is a deep rot within the system. If the Archbishop of Adelaide is doing a Pontius Pilate and wiping his hands and looking the other way, then we have to go higher. So this is not a Catholic thing. This is not right. And so people have to call it out. So please do write to the Pope's representative in Australia, and the details are down below. The other thing is Women's Forum Australia has launched a campaign to protect South Australian girls in sport and in their spaces. And in the lead up to the next election, they've got a campaign running. So there's a petition also in the caption that I'd ask that you sign, because I think that organisation is really important in terms of leading the fight for girls. I guess before we finish up, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your courage. You know, you guys are kind of breaking the silence. Ava, I don't know of another little girl. Sorry, I keep calling you little. Is that all right? I know my kids would hate it. It's just that I'm 42, so to me, like, I'm 30. Yeah. Does she seem little to you, or does she seem...
She's a little baby.
Yeah, exactly. And it is the job of us, like mums, to fight for you and to protect you. And I feel like we've failed because it's our generation that's allowed this to happen. So we're speaking up now. But I just feel you're so courageous, and I'm really proud of you. I told all my kids about you. And I reckon one day you're going to be just known as the person that broke the taboo, because I can't think of another girl in the country that's really spoken up to the same extent and done what you've done. And I really, really want to commend you for that. Yeah.
I'm very proud of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really am. Some people might say, is your mum forcing you to do this?
Nope.
It's coming from you?
Yep.
Yeah. And Zoe, respect to you as well for breaking this open. Did you ever think you'd be doing something like this, being a political campaigner on an issue like this?
I didn't. I actually didn't think this would be like a topic of conversation, to be honest.
Did you think you'd write to the school and they would just fix it? Or did you have your suspicions?
I had my suspicions because I knew a few other parents had already spoken to the school beforehand and had gotten nowhere. I guess it really hit home for us when the toilets became an issue, like with us trying to protect Ava with how she was feeling. And yeah, I was really quite shocked at how dismissive they were with Ava's past.
Yeah. And I guess the third call to action is really, if you've got a child in a Catholic school, or you're thinking about sending your child to a Catholic school in South Australia, I would suggest you don't, because this is where it ends up. And I don't know what you're going to do, but I know for us, we had to decide what do we do because we are Catholic. And when our eldest was going into reception, we had her enrolled in the local Catholic school. And at the very last moment, we pulled her out and decided that she would go to a Christian school. And I'm just so grateful we made that choice, because this just would never happen at that Christian school, and it wouldn't happen at the high school that my kids go to, because that school has a biblical view. It's grounded in truth and science. And so, you know, the girls are protected in the bathroom, they're protected in their sport, and it's just a very safe place for the kids. I think the Catholic school system, if it's got the name Catholic in it, it should be Catholic, but it's not. And I think parents need to wisen up to that. And you should vote with your hip pocket. That's what I think. Yeah, and I know the Christian schools are about $1,500 more expensive a year in fees, so that is a bit of a disincentive to some people. But in my view, you know, these Catholic schools in Adelaide, they're just terrible.
Yeah, we've spoken about even homeschooling. We're actually, we just want our kids to learn, like, you know, facts right, you know, it's black and white, really. And and that's something that we spoke about was, why is the school teaching our children things that we don't have any, you know, we haven't been asked if they can teach our children this, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And state schools are even worse, or maybe just as bad. Like, I would have said they were even worse, but hearing what you've told me, they're just as bad. Like, and so, for example, the Respectful Relationships program in Victoria, that's kids as young as 5. They're doing these gender case studies where they're told, you know, this kid in your class is now, was a boy but is now a girl, and some kids in the class are upset that she's playing sport. What should you do? Should you, A, go to the teacher, B, tell the kid that they belong in the boys? And the case study instructs the kids to say, actually, this kid is a girl, and the teacher says that she's a girl, so therefore she can play girl sport. So they're teaching kids as young as 5 to lie. This ideology is just so pervasive in all of the, you know, in the sporting teams. Yeah, it's scary. So yeah, it's where we've landed. But I actually also, just to finish up with a bit of hope, I'm not sure if Mum's told you, but this is shifting internationally. Like, Australia is well behind the 8 ball on this, because there was that furor in the boxing last year at the Olympics. Do you remember that at all? There was a biological man that was allowed to beat up a woman in the boxing, and he won the gold medal. And there was all this furor at the time. It's come out that he is a biological man, and he was competing in the girls' division in boxing. Now the Olympic Committee seems to very much be moving in that direction of girls' sport and boys' sport, so that's good. President Trump, one of the first things he did was he signed an executive order to say that in America, gender is based in biology, and boys are boys and girls are girls. I mean, you shouldn't have to write that executive order, but he did. And in the UK, they were basing all of their treatment of kids on this gender affirmation model at the Tavistock Clinic, where, you know, if a boy presented and said, I want to be a girl, they would transition them over. Really harmful things like puberty blockers that were messing up with their bodies. And Hilary Cass did a review into 15,000 cases, and she found that this was so detrimental to kids. So the Tavistock Clinic got shut down. And I don't know if you read Harry Potter. Yeah, you might read it one day, but J.K. Rowling, who wrote that book, she has just been such a warrior for women and girls, like really, so, you know, fighting for them. So there's lots of movement. Australia's well behind it, but this is going to shift.
I'm just so scared for all these young children that, you know, go on blockers at such a young age, and then what happens later on when they decide that they want different. Yeah. And it's too late. Yeah,
we're starting to see these stories of detransitioners coming out. People like Chloe Cole, who are coming out and saying, I was lied to, this was the wrong treatment for me.
Where are we safeguarding our kids?
It's child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for coming in. You're getting tired now. And Mum could go on forever. Thank you, Ava, and thank you, Zoe.
That's okay.
Thank you, everyone. So just remember those 3 calls to action. Write to the Pope's representative in Australia. Sign up to the Women's Forum campaign, and if you're in a Catholic school, consider pulling your child out, because this is now, imagine where it's going to go. And if your children aren't at school yet, do not send them to a Catholic school in South Australia. And that's today on The Dr. Jo Show.